Hi, artists. So last class we talked about form and drawing a form, an illusion of a form on a flat surface. So we also talked about the fact that a form is something that has 3 dimensions, length, width, and depth. And so we are drawing the illusion of that form on our flat surface. Today we're going to do another form. Again, I'm using my HB pencil. A number 2 pencil will do just fine. And we're going to draw a sphere. So if you would label this box sphere and draw along with me as I go. The first thing we need to do is draw a circle in the middle, and it might be easier to draw a circle if you have something to trace. If you don't have anything to trace, just draw a circle. I have a cap here. It's a lot bigger than a quarter. So I'll show you. Here's a quarter size. You can see how much bigger. So I'm going to trace this. Maybe you have a cap like this at home. Maybe you don't. If not, you can just draw a circle in the middle of your box here. And the first thing we're going to do is we're going to add our horizon line. So I'm going to go right here for the horizon line, go across behind it, and draw it again on the right side. At any point in this video, as I'm drawing, you might want to pause it so you can draw along and keep going. So the light source again is going to be from the left. There's our symbol of a sun. And I'm going to just abbreviate it as LS and abbreviate this as HL. Okay. And last time when we did our cube, the first thing we did was our core shadow. So that's what we're going to do here this time. This is a little bit different though, in that the core shadow doesn't have a space already to fill in. So we're going to make a space for it to fill in, and we're going to do this pretty lightly to begin with. And the core shadow's shape is like a crescent moon kind of on its side. Go ahead, roughly sketch in really lightly your crescent moon shape there. And it is actually a gradient from dark to light, from the core shadow to the highlight. So the highlight is going to be right around here, and the highlight again is going to have no value. It's going to be completely white of the paper. So what I like to do is I like to start, because I'm doing a gradient, I like to start at the dark. Everybody has their different likes about this, but as you'll notice, I'm not outlining again. If I see a big outline there, it's kind of an obvious, it just looks out of place. So I'm going in and I'm filling this in just like we did our gradients in our previous unit. And then from there, I am going around it. Down here, this space in here is going to be the reflected light. So it's not going to be as dark as this core shadow. And we can even take a little line and write core shadow. Why don't you pause for a minute and write that? Okay, and as I continue to add up value, you notice that I'm lightening my pressure a little bit as I go around it. And then lightening it up even more. And this is pretty rough sketches here. Okay. You know, there's a little bit of a glare with pencil. I'm going to then go back in. My pencil lines are kind of horizontal, up, diagonal to the right. So I'm going to go back in with my pencil lines across the entire thing the other way to fill in some of the gaps between the lines. And doing this step really helps fill in that value. And it shows that you put effort into your drawing. So as I'm doing this, I can see that my core shadow is there, but there's not a big outline. Okay, I am going to go back in and add some more darkness. Now I'm just working with my HB pencil. If you want to, you can go in with your 2B pencil. Remember, that's the darkest. And add in some more dark value there. But the goal is to slowly, gradually, with a gradient, go from dark value up to here, which is light. I'm kind of following the curve of the sphere as well. And going 2 directions to kind of make that hatching look. And fill in some of the gaps. Still going to be pretty dark under here. It's just not going to be as dark as the core shadow. As I go up towards the top, I'm lightening up my pressure. It's going to be real light up here, just like the edges of this highlight here. And this is where I'm going to do lighter and lighter gradients. If you want to switch to your 2H, if it's easier for you, you can switch to your 2H to make those really light marks. You'll notice I still have this kind of circular rounded area here. That's really important to keep it round. So then I can kind of also go in with some marks the other way. Definitely don't want to draw a circle, like a whole circle up here, but I can have kind of circular curved lines that are lightening in value. There's our highlight. That's a good start. And if you got yours to that point, great. Now I want to kind of make the gradient a lot more even and smoother. So going back to my HB pencil, I'm just going to fill in some more, being careful to keep the light values here and slowly building the values to dark. You can see I'm going over the core shadow a whole bunch of times just to make it a little bit darker, a little bit more representative of what it would look like in real life. So Now we can add in some more of our labels. So right here is our highlight. Okay, and we're going to put our cast shadow here, just like our cast shadow here. And so it is going to be directly opposite the light source, and it's going to be rounded. So I'm making rounded pencil marks. And again, it is the darkest right up against here. And it's going to be a gradient, rounded, curved, edged lines here. So you can see I'm doing a lot of extra value right under here, and then trying to put a gradient out. We're not really smoothing out with any sort of tissue or blending stump, but you could if you wanted to. This is called the cast shadow, just like here. So this is cast shadow. It's cast upon the surface. And there's something else in this one that we want to put in, and it's this area right in here. It's under the core shadow, but still part of the sphere. And it's right here. And this is called reflected light. Oops. Reflected light. And what happens is some of the surface area has a little bit of light coming from either side. It just kind of bounces back up there. And so right at that edge there, under the core shadow is a little bit lighter. That's why I made it a little bit lighter. If you didn't make it a little bit lighter, you can go in and erase a little bit and then kind of blend in that erased area. But that is the reflected light area. The last thing I'm going to do is just kind of put in some hatching for the background. So trying to avoid my sphere, filling in the background, avoiding my light source. Just really light horizontal and then vertical lines to make kind of a hatched background. And that just differentiates the background from the foreground. It kind of makes the whole thing come together and look like a real sphere. So here's just a closer look at my sphere. You can see all my pencil lines, but I still have quite a bit of value going from light to dark. I could probably go back in here and add some more just to feather that out a little bit and make it a little bit less of a line here. So just a really light pressure. That's how you make the illusion of a three-dimensional sphere on that flat surface. So this is what I'd like you to do for your asynchronous time today, and have that ready for our next class so we can move on. Thanks, guys.